Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Let's begin with today's class. In today's class, we are going to study about the major longitudes. So, in our earlier classes, I already explained you about the latitudes and the longitudes, right? So, basically, latitudes are the lines which are vertical and the longitudes are the horizontal lines on the map, right? See here, I explain you that the vertical lines which are drawn on the globe that run through north to south, as I told you that the north to south, the lines which run from north to south, right, from here to here, is called as latitudes. Sorry, it is called as longitudes, and the latitudes are those lines which are running from the west to east, right? So that lines are called as latitudes. So it has been already explained you about the latitudes and longitudes, and now we are going to study about the major longitudes, the main longitudes of the whole world. Like the first is prime meridian and the second major longitude is the international date line. Now I will give you one example. How is it possible to see the dates or the time of different countries? As I told you that these two are the major longitudes, and these two lines helps us to see or to calculate the time of different countries, right? For example, if I'm traveling from Gujarat to some other country, for example USA, right? Now to travel from Gujarat to USA, it will take me more than 24 hours, right? So one most important thing is that the time changes as I'll go from here to there, right? So there will be a completely change of time. But how will I know about the time, or how will I calculate the time? So basically it is possible because of this major lines, that is meridian, prime meridian and the international date line, which is also again an imaginary line like the longitudes and latitudes. But this prime meridian and the international date line is one of the longitudes, and because of that longitudes we are able to now calculate or see the times of different country or understand it. Let's begin with the video or with today's topic. So prime meridian is basically a line which is passed, or that line is an imaginary line from the north to the south of our globe, right? Now the 0-degree longitude that passes through Greenwich in England is known as the prime meridian. So the longitude starts with our 0-degree, it goes on from both the sides, right, from 10-degree, 20-degree, right, till 180-degree, right? It divides. I'll show you a clear picture of this in as I complete this thing. So basically it divides the earth into two vertical heavens, right? So this circle, right, this is whole world, and this circle has been divided into two vertical parts, and that vertical part is, and the line which divides that part, the whole globe, is called as the prime meridian. So it has longitude extend up to 180-degree, right? So as we all know that our earth is a round, and as it starts with 0-degree, it completes half from, it starts from here as well as here, right? So that will be of the half part will be 180, another half will be 180, right? and that will also divide the eastern and the western sides also, right? The eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere as well. Since it passes through Greenwich, it is generally referred to as the prime meridian, right? So why is this prime meridian called as Greenwich? Because this line passes through a place in England which is Greenwich, right? So because of that, that line is also called as Greenwich or a prime meridian. Okay, so now I'm going to explain you with the help of picture, right? So just look at the picture and I'll be explaining you. Look and listen as well. So here is the picture. You can see in this picture that I will show you the meridian now, prime meridian now. So over here, as you can see this marking which are written, you can see the 0 degree. Here is 10, 20, 40, 60, right? You can see this degrees, which is, this are the longitudes, right? Imaginary lines you can tell. So the 0 degree line, you can see this 0 degree line, this line is, so this line which is over here, this 0 degree line, this is the prime meridian, right? It divides the globe into the eastern and the western hemisphere. See, this part is the western hemisphere and this part is the eastern hemisphere, right? Now you all must be very clear about the meridian, right? Now I'm going to also explain you about the international date line. So this is the prime meridian. Now as this has been increasing, right, you can see here 20 degree, 40 degree, 60 degree, 80 degree, 100 degree, 120 degree, 140, 160, and then comes 180. So that 180 line is called as the international date line. So again that also divides, right? This part is the eastern hemisphere and this part is the western hemisphere. Okay, now you all are clear about the which is the prime meridian line and which is the international date line. Now we'll study in the chapter about the international date line, because we have already completed our prime meridian, right? So here is the international date line. There is only 180 degree longitude which is known as the international date line. When one crosses this line, the day and the date changes, right? As this line is being crossed, right? As the 180 degree line is crossed, that line, as that person crosses that line, the date and the time changes. The international date line passes through the Pacific Ocean and separates two calendar dates, right? So this line, basically the international date line, which is the 180 degree longitude line, that line passes through Pacific Ocean and it separates two calendars date, right? It is not exactly 180 at all places, since the line crisscrosses across several time zones. So basically this is not a straight line like the one which is in the prime meridian or the measure that prime meridian lines. This line in the international date line is a little bit crisscross line because the area is being distributed in the Pacific Ocean. Then there are some islands, right? For example, these are some islands. Then that line is, that 180 degree line has to be a little bit crisscross. This is because if it is drawn straight, then the line has to pass through some many islands, and due to this they might have 2 dates and 2 days on the same island, right? So for example, if there is India and the line is passing through India, what will happen? There will be 2 dates and 2 days in the in that island, right? So because of to avoid that, what they did, they crossed that islands, or they crossed that island and made a zigzag line to get a equal or same dates or day. This might create confusion. Therefore, the line, when it passes over land, it's shifted towards the water bodies, so it is not straight but zigzag, right? So only this line, that is the international date line, is made a little bit zigzag to avoid confusion, because to avoid that, if that line is passing between the one country, then what would happen, that country will have same date and different 2 dates and days. To avoid that confusion and to make a even and equal date and days in the whole country, this thing was being made. So here our topic for today, that is prime meridian and international date line, is completed. So we'll continue the chapter in the next class. Thank you.